of the Tournament of All-Stars, so make sure you like and subscribe because you're not going to miss a single drop of content this season. On this podcast, all chaos breaks loose as the Pink Bracket's first MVQ point ceremony gives us one of the gaggiest moments in the history of this show, while the queens read each other with musicality in the Rappin Roast. But before we begin, let me introduce my co-host, and who'll always be the Tamar to my Tony. It's QuackrrJack. Jack, just when we think that we've seen it all, we've had this week's episode. Is the Pink Bracket just the gift that keeps on giving?
It depends on who you ask, because some people are not going to see this as a gift, and others are going to see this as a curse. So, I mean, I'm loving it. I'm living for it. I think we're seeing strategy. I think we're seeing, a lot of, well, how I say, rudeness
Mhm.
at times. Maybe a little delusion, but I'm loving it. I love every second of it personally.
I mean, I think we have officially like something about this format it's which is hilarious is because this is literally like the one format that allows them to kind of like prop everybody up, right? And give points away and be positive to each other. And this has literally devolved into one of the just most amazing formats I feel like for a Drag Race All Stars because it is literally like the anti-survivor, like Survivor, you're voting people out, right? Here you're trying to vote and get yourself propped up to get voted in kind of thing. And like when you kind of have the reverse where you're trying to like, you could scheme and plot and do other things outside of just doing well in the competition to get yourself ahead. That's what they want from this All Stars franchise. This is what they've always wanted. If this isn't what they have always wanted, they would have not introduced the format of them voting each other out in season two. This is by far, as far as I'm concerned, is some of the best drama that we're going to get from this show. And I feel like people really need to just kind of loosen up a little bit. There's just so many people that are so mad about what happened in the first 7 minutes of the episode that I'm just y'all, yeah, I mean, y'all are the reason why these queens are so afraid to like be themselves and have a good time and just play the game because this is a game at the end of the day, y'all. Like they are here to do a reality competition show. So like I don't understand why we are giving these queens so much negativity when they're giving us some of the best content that we have had in years. Years, without a doubt. Um, do you have an issue with the fact that this is kind of turning into Survivor a little bit, or are you with me here? I just need to know your opinion on this whole thing.
I wouldn't even call this Survivor. Like, I don't feel like it's that crazy.
It's really not.
Personally, I think we're just seeing a difference of opinion. The first group wanted to try to play, all like we love each other, everyone deserves to be here, blah blah blah. And then you had the one girl who was kind of conniving behind everyone's back, Olivia in that group, but she tried to play it off as if she hadn't
Yeah,
been. But here
I
it's
see.
more about, people are just being honest about it. They're like, let me, I have 3 weeks to get points, and I have found out that I'm not getting points in the first week, which means I can only win two more challenges. And I could end up with 0 points at the end of week one. That's a big deal when there are only going to be what? 9 times 3 points at most, split between six
27
people.
points total.
Right,
27 points
27
between six people.
divided by 6 people. Now, look, I might not be the mathematician, but I liked calculus. I enjoyed a good time. So when I'm looking at that, I'm like, I need to get points ASAP. Now, there's clearly not going to be any chance of too many of the girls. I want to say one upping me. I feel like I'd be okay, but you never know what the judges are going to look for. And if after the first episode you felt like you were killing it and you didn't get rewarded, that's scary.
It really is, honestly, because it's like what I think we've learned from this format is that if you're not on your stuff from the jump, you are going to be struggling to get back into it. Like, you need to at least hit it by episode two. If you're not hitting it by episode two, girl,
You're
and
out, girl.
even not, I wouldn't even say even hitting it by episode. That you need to get a point in that point ceremony. If you do not get a point in that point ceremony, you're kind of screwed. So, like, I kind of get why, when we're going into this whole point ceremony deliberation, why we get the outcome that we did, and I loved it so much. And let's just go ahead and talk about it because this will probably be a big portion of what we're going to be talking about here today, at least in this pre-portion and whatnot. Is because again, as you all know, the bottom queens will be deliberating to who they give their MVQ point away to, and we have Jorgeous, Mistress Isabelle Brooks, Nicole Paige Brooks, and Kerri Colby all in the bottom four, as Lydia B. Kollins had just won the challenge, got 3 points, and Tina Burner had two. Um, and there's a little bit of hesitation again, as it seems like there always kind of is in these ceremonies. And really, it feels like everybody's kind of talking but Mistress. You can kind of tell. At least when it comes in here, Mistress is like, I'm just gonna sit here. I'm gonna be quiet. I'm gonna observe the scene and I'm going to kind of see how things shake out and how I'm going to work things to my advantage. And you could kind of tell that she's just ready to have her plotting, scheming, evil, maniacal, monstrous tendencies ready to come out here because, like, as the girls are talking here, she doesn't even seem like she's kind of even listening really to kind of what they're saying. Like, she's ready to kind of just like push things in the direction where they kind of need to go. And you kind of see that Kerri and Nicole Page Brooks are kind of toying with the idea of maybe exchanging points with each other, while maybe, who knows what Jorgeous and Mistress are going to do. But then when everybody comes in, there's a moment between Mistress and Jorgeous where it feels like they kind of like look at each other, and it feels like the other girls kind of clock it too, but then they don't say shit about it. Like, instead, they just let Mistress just kind of go off and just be like, okay, I'm going to direct this ceremony. Nicole, you're going first, and you're going to give me your badge because we're family. And Terry, you're going to give your badge to Jorgeous. Okay, now this is all done. Now I'm going to give my badge to Jorgeous. Jorgeous, you're going to give me mine. And I'm just like, how did y'all just let Mistress just control absolutely everything that just went down here? Like, y'all literally just saw Mistress and George's like conspiring with their looks to each other. Like, Nicole calls it out and then still gives her a point. Still gives her point to Mistress. So we literally end this MVQ ceremony with Georges and Mistress getting 2 points, literally being tied in second place with Tina, who won the challenge just prior. And all Kerri and Nicole Paige Brooks have are shocked looks on their faces here. Was this not just? I I can't even really like you were saying here. Like, this isn't Survivor. That wasn't Survivor. Because in
No.
Survivor, there's much more like tact to the manipulation. Like, no, she just really went in here. It was just like, no, you're just giving me the points, and they just did it. I don't even know what to say anymore, Jack. Like, what were your thoughts while this was all going on here?
Okay, look, when I was watching this, I was like, first of all, I don't trust people, right? Like, that's a me thing. I have trust issues. Whatever. So, I don't know how people get through life without them, but go off. To be so okay and unaware of what was going on around you, like, you said that you noticed these things were shady things were happening, you're nervous, whatever, right? Like, so you said, okay, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. Sure. She gives her the benefit of the doubt. She said, okay, I'm gonna give mine to I'm just gonna give mine away to the girl I'm on the same couch with. That was the justification because they all thought they had talked about it. So she's like, I'm Nicole Page Brooks, I'm giving mine to Kerri Colby. Kerri Colby's gonna give me, and then Georges and Mistress, you guys can swap. And so Mistress somehow turns it around on her about this whole part where she sees Mistress and Georges talking to being like, see, that's shady because I thought we were family. I thought we had an alliance. So, like, what is this about now? And so I think Nicole was just like, well, out of the good southernness of my heart, like, let me, trust my Brooks sister because, we don't do those things in the Brooks family. So I think she really took that as like a meaningful thing. Well, she did that, and then Kerri was like, "Okay, I give mine to Jorgeous because Nicole didn't give it to me, and Nicole's giving it to to Mistress." And so there's not a lot working upstairs for George's Mistress or I'm sorry, George's Kerri or Nicole. Mistress is clearly the brains behind everything going on, and they just got like completely shocked and gagged that Mistress was like, exactly, we give it to family, and you're not actually family, so I'm giving mine to George's. And George's in that moment knew that she said, look, girl, for that long, you look at each other and you're like, it's done. And so George's knew she was giving her point to Mistress as well. Now, could George's have played the dirty hand and been like, I'm giving my point to Kerri? And that would have been the ultimate gag. That's what she could have done, right? But no, no. So instead, they exchange points. Now, Mistress, Georgeous, and Tina are all tied in second place with 2 points apiece. Meanwhile, Kerri and Nicole are at zero. It's gaggy. It's gaggy. And you know what? This is what playing this game means. Like some girls want this more than others, but this will teach them that they can't just trust what people are going to say. You got to see people do what they do with their actions.
Mhm.
They had all already seen that Mistress is not one to necessarily be trusted when it comes to competition, but they ignored anything that their intuition told them. And I think this is a learning lesson for the girls. Like, this is a competition. You can all be sisters outside the show, but right now, you girls are against each other. Mistress is a pageant girl. She knows what this is about. And Nicole Page Brooks has done pageants before. Kerri Colby has done them. I think that we should kind of know what we're getting ourselves into, but clearly they had no clue. And so this really starts this gap in points, and it's like the wealth is now being, you know, completely taken away from two of the girls, and it's like, are they going to be able to catch back up? I don't think so, but I
I
mean,
have
we'll
to
see.
ask, in your opinion, because this is a big topic that's happening here. Is Mistress just being strategic, or is she a bully? And why is George being left out of all of this conversation?
Well, Jorgeous is skinny and pretty, so they're never gonna call her out. And that's not saying that Mistress isn't pretty, but the moment that someone is skinny, like I said in the last one, there's a privilege that goes along with being a skinny bitch. Like that's
I
just
know
a
it's
given.
lovely.
So, like if they get away with everything. Georgeous is so sweet; she can't do anything wrong, but she's conniving, she's evil. Like she's all these terrible things, right?
She
Like
is the gremlin, as Tina says.
she is the gremlin,
Like she
and I
was
think that's
fully
fun.
knowing what Mistress was doing. So I'm like, you kind of, I'm like, she just let it do it, and she was fully, fully with it. So I'm just like, you can't be mad at one without the other. I was gonna say, but
I
I'm just saying
think
that we can't be mad at either of them because they're playing the game. This is not bullying. This is called
that
playing the game.
So this is where I agree and disagree with a couple of things being said. Would I say that this is strategy? 1,000%. Do I love to see it? 100,000%. Look back in every All Stars. There's not a single All Stars where there's not some strategy played, other than maybe the first one because it wasn't like a voting system.
A little strategy, like the tiniest bit of strategy. Like I remember, like Yara was like,
Very small.
I hit the button so that way I could use the power of Alexis's lip sync
That
and
was
my
bad
lip sync
strategy.
together, and then she ended up just
That was
losing.
trash, Mama. That was garbage. Um,
Can I just say something? All Stars 1 is actually actually a really fun season. I know it's only 6 episodes, and I know it like by the
it's
time we get
kind of
halfway through
garbage.
it, it ends. It's low key kind of like one of my favorite seasons. I
I
I know a lot of people don't agree with it, but like I can rewatch All Stars 1 all the time.
That's
It's just
garbage.
I love the cast. The cast is so good. And I'm like, yeah, it sucks that like we lose them on like a rapid basis, but like there's so much good to the season. And I'm like, especially like the Yara Alexis versus like the fight when they went off on all the other girls for choosing them to be eliminated. There's some good drama on this season. The Jujubee versus Raven lip sync. So good.
There might
So
be
good.
good drama, and the format just needs to be changed up. Like partners could work, but not in that whole sense of how they did it.
No.
But All Stars One was a chop, and that's why any girl who's on All Stars One should immediately get a call back to a different All Star season because, girl, it was a chop. It was a mess. It was a
Agreed, but
gag.
I still will say that it's watchable.
Yeah,
I
but
think it's a
like
lot more watchable than people think it is and say it is.
yes,
It's
yes,
the
but
fact that it's just
now,
pushed by so quick.
but back to this season, right? All
Yeah,
Stars
let's go back.
10.
Back to the
We've
season.
had plenty of strategy we've seen or whatever, or attempted strategy. Let's not talk about season 7, 8, or 9. But, it's just with this, it was really like some girls are really, really out to get this crown. Like this is George's third time. Mistress feels like she should have already gotten her crown, kind of thing. And so they both want it. They want it bad. And obviously, no one was going to give a point to Lydia or Tina because everyone had this idea of let's all be friends and give each other a point like group one. So, since all of these things are happening, this was just an easy way to manipulate the situation. Bully, would I use the word bully? Yeah, I guess a little bullyish, maybe. But, I mean, is it really bullying if you're playing the game? I don't think I'd go that far. Do I think Mistress can be a bully and Jorgeous can be a bully? 1000%. Do I love to see it? Yeah. Guess what? Every show needs a villain. Every show needs a villain, and you will not find a show without a villain because if there's no kind of drama or no kind of like issues going on, like it's not going to work, right? And on a reality TV show, you need a villain. And guess what? Some girls aren't afraid to get their hands a little dirty to get themselves further in the competition. And I'm not mad about it. And I don't think any of the other girls should necessarily be upset that they got. I mean, you're allowed to feel that you did dirty, blah blah blah, but like no one technically owed you a point. You don't owe anyone anything. You can give me a point, and I don't technically owe you a point. It would have been the nice thing to do, sure, but at the end of the day, I'm looking out for myself. And as Mistress put it, if the girls each have 2 points and Lydia has three, and two other girls out of the six have 0 points, you're almost kicking them down out of the competition if they don't win this week. That immediately means you have a what? 3 out of 4 of the girls moving on. That's pretty good odds in comparison to 3 out of 6, isn't it? From 50% to 75%. Pretty good odds, I'd say. And, I think it's worth it to be selfish because no one's going to win this by being selfless. You've never seen a
Mm-mm.
season where someone's won by being completely selfless.
No one has
Sorry,
ever
you
won a
just
season
haven't.
of Survivor or anything, honestly. Especially in All Stars. No one's ever won that by making the decision that is like a decision that isn't good for them at the end of the day. And
Well,
I mean I understand to some degree how people would be like, okay, well, Mistress is bullying. I don't think she's bullying just because she's loud and because she's necessarily like trying to create a situation that's like you could say she's gaslighting, yes, and it's like, but like when in reality TV is gaslighting something that is not necessarily a tactic that you could use. I don't necessarily like using gaslighting. I personally don't. That's not my personal tactic. But as far as I'm concerned, like again, at the end of the day, this is a game to get to the end. You're not gonna yell at people in when you're playing Monopoly that when you land on their space because they put hotels there. Like that's your fault for landing on their space. Like there's certain things that happen in games that I'm just like, you have to be a little ruthless. No one is not, you're never going to get far in a game if you are constantly worried about the feelings of everybody else. You have to somewhat be a little bit selfish to some degree to push yourself forward. And if people want to look at that like it's bullying, okay, fine, whatever. That's not the words that I'm going to be using, but it is what it is, kind of at the end of the day here. Like I don't know what people kind of want. Like I feel like this is the reason why at the end of the day, so many girls on go on Drag Race and don't do the kind of things that they want to do or should do kind of thing because they're afraid of what the backlash is going to be from the fandom. And I'm just like, I don't feel like us as fans need to be that negative towards these people that are on a show trying to give us entertainment at the end of the day. And I'm just like, I don't necessarily agree with all the shit that Mistress is getting. As far as I'm concerned, that she should get many more flowers. Just she is giving us some of the best TV that we have had in such a long time. So,
Can I
um,
just say, everyone who thinks that Mistress Isabelle Brooks is bullying is completely wrong because that was Mistress Isabella Brooks. I don't know who Mistress Isabelle Brooks, but that was not her.
right, that
This
was
was AI
Isabella.
generated.
Isabella.
That's Isabella Brooks.
Isabella.
That was Isabella that did that. That wasn't Isabel. I can see the confusion. I totally get it. Okay.
Okay. Well, Janet, I think we've talked about this portion enough here. Let's go ahead and get to your favorite portion of the podcast. Let's get to the runway roundup here. And this week's category is the Little Shop of Horrors, which is a plant inspired book. And I'm not sure why someone in production is so much attached to making these category names for All Stars so demonetizable. I'm looking at y'all and be like, why do you not want us content creators to make money? Because all the words you're using in your titles are literally things that will get us demonetized. But anyway, Jack, did you like this category? And who are your standouts this
Let me say no, first of all. Like, I love the category, but I hate the name. It could have easily just been Little Shop of Horticulture. Like,
week? Hmm.
it was so easy. It was right there. It was right
Horror
there.
and the word they chose to go with don't feel like they are close enough to me to match. I
I
don't know.
just feel like, there wasn't enough thought put there, but whatever. The idea of doing a plant-based look is always sickening. Come on, like we always take inspiration from everything we do, and I think it was such a fun way to do this challenge. And I think we had some really good looks and some other looks that we can talk about on this runway.
They're definitely worth a look though. Who are your favorite?
Um, I think like top three, I'm definitely gonna have to give that to Jorgeous, Tina Burner, and above all else, Kerri Colby.
Yeah.
I think there were problems with everyone's looks this week again. Like, and again, I'm being a little, picky. I care about details, right? I care. I want to point out George's really is giving me her type of drag, but elevated because I like that instead of just a small little bodysuit or corset that she's doing, she really upped it with like these huge boots and shoes that just like create the whole Venus flytrap up the whole of her body. And like, yes, she's showing a lot of skin, but she's still covered up a lot. One thing I do want to note is I kind of wish the shoe had the little the little heel on it had also been covered. It's a small detail. I know. I'm picky. I just like to look at things that could be elevated. But this hair, this makeup, like everything looks amazing on her. I love what she looks like. I think it's a fun idea for her. She still gets to be on brand, but really do something way more draggy than just like putting on a small corset or a small dress that we saw a lot from her on season 14. So I really love this elevated for George's look.
There's so many really good details on it too. Like the fact that
There
the
are.
teeth just carry from like the top to the bottom. The fact that she
It's
carries the
everywhere.
color story, the kind of that watermelon pink with like just
Hmm.
honestly, it's just kind of watermelon. Also, like the green gives me watermelon too. Like this is really good. I do agree with you, 100% that, and I also do agree with you that small detail about the heel. Like it's just that small little bit of white poking out with the rest of this being like green. But like this has got to be by far one of the best bodysuits I think we've seen on the show, without a doubt. Just because of the details to it, and
Yeah, that's what it's
it's
about.
just so
Even the
intricate.
nails of this
Oh
of these
yeah,
gloves.
that's too. The gloves were so cool.
It's like it's not just a glove, bitch. It's a whole goddamn like example of what your outfit should be when you really elevate it the highest. It's not just I put on black gloves to fit. It's like no, there's a belief of every part of this glove is part of that plant, and those fingernails and stuff just look like they meant in of the mouth of the Venus flytrap, and it's so cool. It's so cool, and it displays her body perfectly, and I think this is the perfect version of like her drag. Like I know who this is. Take out Jorgeous and just show me the outfit. I know whose outfit this is, I think, you know?
Honestly, this could be the best look I think she probably maybe has ever worn on the show. Like I'm
Uh,
going
it's
back to the, through the rest of her looks, and I'm just like, other than like her promos, I'm like, this could definitely be like
it might
the
be.
best
I
look
mean,
that she's
it's
ever worn.
great. It's amazing, and you know, I can't say enough good things about it, you know? But I think we need to move on because
Of
we've given
course.
her a lot of flowers.
I mean,
Now I
she
think
deserves those flowers in
she
the flower
definitely
runway.
does. And someone who deserves some flowers for her look was this compelling story of the stargazer lily that Tina gave us about her mother and this heart-wrenching moment and her new tattoo on her, you know, on her shoulder. And I really love that she came out and became this lily and like as a tribute to her mom. Are there things I want to change about it? Yes, I want some more padding. I want to give her more dimensions, but the look itself is beautiful. Of course, the gloves could change to maybe match a little better, but the headpiece is beautiful. It looks like another flower petal off of it, and there's the opening of the lily on her head. She looks gorgeous. There are a few things we could change here or there, and you know,
I mean,
I
the
don't
only
want to
thing
get
we would
down on
really
her too
change would be the
much.
fact that like the petals didn't like would flop so much. Like we would like
Yeah,
change like
we
just a little
definitely
bit,
some
like
shape issues.
yeah, and yeah, I definitely think she should probably need some hips or whatnot. But this is by far, I think this could possibly be Tina Burner's best look too. Like
Yes, and
she's gorgeous in this look.
with just a few alterations here or there and a few things we could it could be elevated more, but this is a beautiful look that she has dedicated, and I don't mean just like a normal like dedication look because we've seen plenty of people dedicate a look that didn't look good, and I'm the first to call it out, but I think this is a great dedication look that actually looks good. It's not like the best of the week, but it definitely deserved to stand out in my opinion.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, I want to touch on the story a little bit too, just because my grandma had dementia as well too. So like, I totally understand that 1,000%. Well, I still think one of my best memories was when I actually got to see my grandma for the last time, and the fact that she remembered who I was. Because the moment I walked in, her eyes just lit up, like like no one had ever seen before, and I'm just like things like that. When you have, when family members with dementia, it's a scary feeling, to know that you've been through your life with somebody this entire time and they may not remember who you are. And you know, I love the fact that Tina gave her mother this moment because I can guarantee you maybe she might not remember who Tina is, but she'll always remember this moment, without a doubt.
Right. I It's a beautiful moment for her, and you know, and RuPaul, I don't remember the exact words that RuPaul said, but RuPaul, like, told her, like, you know, "We'll remember, like, we're here for you, you know, like, you're not alone, like, your mom is there, like, even if you can't maybe see her or feel her right there, like, she's there, she's still proud of you," kinda thing. And I just thought that was really kind, especially for someone who's going through something, like I like when girls are vulnerable in that way, but I also like when you know, we really are honest with them about their looks and stuff too. And being honest about something, Kerri Colby has possibly the most gagging look this week. She also chose to do the Venus flytrap, which is interesting. So many girls did the exact same looks and the exact same flowers. And I don't know if this is like they were all looking for something different or if they only could choose between a few. I'm not really sure, but how do we have two different groups of people doing the same thing? Anyways, um, Kerri Colby gives us like the sci-fi version of Venus flytrap, and one thing I have to get on Kerri Colby about is, and it's not just her, it's all girls. I think especially this past season 17, you saw it where the girls would do the reveal immediately as they got on the runway, and we're like, slow down, honey. Walk to the edge of the runway, then do a reveal. Like, come on, give us some time to appreciate what you have
Right.
because she comes out like she's surrounded by these huge petals or the mouth of the Venus flytrap, and there are other branches and thorns and even another Venus flytrap or two on her body. Whatever this is coiled around here, and I gotta I'll be honest with you, it's not the most beautiful thing. I think the reason is that it's so stunning to see what had happened, but it feels like it all just got immediately pulled off her as soon as she took like two steps
Hmm.
and she was revealed to basically be naked, just barely covering her body with like glitter and whatnot. And this is such a stunning look, but imagine if she had gone all the way down the runway and then had like had it yanked off her after she got to a certain part of the way down the runway as opposed to just immediately. I think the effect would have been great. And also love the shoes. Baby, this is how you do a shoe. Let me tell you,
Yeah.
shoes matter, details matter. Her outfit details should be better in my opinion, but it's so stunning, the hair, the makeup. It's really giving you this I can't say it enough, sci-fi like this is what the kind of flora you expect to see on the uninhabited planets that have oxygen or something, right?
I
This is
wonder
a
if just the clamshell, if it was just too big for her to walk down the runway in, but like the way that she kind of walked out in it with it like wrapped around her, and then she opens it up, like it felt like she should have been able to walk with it a little bit further. Like I feel like she should have. You're right. Like she could have got herself a little bit further up before she did the reveal. But like, because for me, that's partially why when I made the video, like everything's gonna be the first like 20 seconds of her runway leading up to the reveal that's going to actually show in the video because everything that she's wearing currently prior to it is so good. Like the the clamshell thing in general is just it's so ethereal looking. So you're right, so sci-fi. Just it's looks like she came from literally outer space, and then she reveals to be like the space sexy horror queen, and I'm like I'm cool with that. Um, but I do agree with you. I wish she would have just let us live in the moment just for a little bit longer before just instantly revealing into the sexy outfit part of it. Because honestly, if you really think about like the sexy outfit portion didn't really have like any sort of like plantness to it.
nope.
So I mean, I get it. It's Little Shop of Horrors, so the idea is like she's a plant. Now she's the whore. But I'm like, I kind of want to live in the moment where she could be both. And I'm like, I feel like in this, there was a little bit of a disconnect between the two, it's to some degree, but still, like, how can we deny the fact that she looked so fucking good on this runway? Her body is snatched. She like every proportion looks so good. Uh, and I love the colors of this look too. I think it's really pretty. Um, I kind of just wish that the under part of it had a little bit more to do with plants, slightly, but like I don't think there's any way that we can deny that this is not the best runway of the week. Like
It's just
for
so
sure.
good.
Especially
I
given
mean,
like what the other three girls gave us.
right. And I think another thing that's great about this though is she does both sections of it, little shop of so plant and then whores or whatever. The one thing I think that she could have done differently is she opens up the Venus flytrap, it comes off of her, and then the outfit of the little Venus flytraps her off. Once she gets maybe 80% of the way down the stage and she thinks she's all good and stuff, it looks like there are cords connected to the Venus flytrap in the back. If only those cords had been longer. So until she got about 80% of the way down the runway, that's when it was snatched off. So she was like, hey, what happened? And then she's like, oh, this is me. Like, that would have been the sickening moment. Like, could you imagine a girl walking down the runway where she has a cord on the back of her that no one knows about that yanks her look off? Like, that would have been so sickening and, like, pulls it back into the plant. Like, that is how you make the most show stopping effect possible. But again, I'm asking too much, right? Um,
I
this
mean,
is
we are kind of
amazing.
going to like plastic tiara levels there of
Yeah.
runway presentations. So like, yeah. But also she did make us like really like yearn for runway presentations. Like Plastique did like the best. So like
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything wrong to want more and to know that there could possibly be more. But I'm satisfied for what Kerri gave us here. Especially when we have like Bowser and um
Oh, you want to talk
and
about the cacti
the
twins?
cactus the cactus that turns into whatever that other white part is, and then Lydia, I liked Lydia, but I'm like, Lydia's gave us literally
No, Lydia was bad.
basic dress ever, and it was just not. You could tell she only had 5 days to make the look, and I feel bad for judging her on that, but like,
No,
it's the case.
don't.
It is what it is. Like, I'm not. I feel bad, but it is what it is. So I'm not gonna
This is a
hold my
bad
opinion back
look.
on Lydia's look for it. I think she only did better than Nicole, and the only reason she only did better than Nicole is because Mistress told Nicole to do the reveal, and she shouldn't have done that reveal.
Look, with Nicole's, this cactus idea was really cool. I think the small snake. This is one of those like you need bigger hair kind of drag moments. Like you need an actual snake. Like Britney Spears didn't come out with a gardener snake on her neck. She came out with like a banana python or boa constrictor or whatever it was,
Mhm.
right? You know, that
Yeah.
huge yellow snake. We all remember that moment, right? We've all seen girls who have recreated that effect with the snake thing. I didn't even know there really was a snake around her neck on this cactus look until they showed it to us later.
Oh, same,
um,
same. So I
sh-
actually didn't even know there was a snake on it. I guess I wasn't paying attention even to the judging because I only saw it when like I saw like a screen cap version of it where it was like Michelle's like, "Do you have a snake on you?" And she's like, "Oh yeah." And I was like, "When did she have a snake on?" It's like, was I just that out of it with the COVID? I might have been.
I mean, maybe, but so this is a very fun silhouette shape. She has these huge hooped out hips, and she has a couple flowers on the one side of the hips, and she has a flower coming out of her face. The headpiece or the head like helmet flap, it's a little messy, and so you can see a little the strains of everything going on. And it was a very good look. I mean, Nicole Page Brooks went from the trashiest, most basic garbage outfit we had seen this season so far last week into this conceptually beautiful outfit, and then she unfortunately takes it off. Takes about 2 whole minutes just to get out of it. It was like watching Lydia with the scissors last season, just like constantly, and it's just like you can't stop watching the car crash, but it's taking so long to happen too, you know.
I loved how there
And
was like the look down and then look up with the smile and then look down a couple seconds more and then look up more with another smile.
it was like uncomfortable yet like kind of cringy, but like understandable. It's just one of those things like it was a great idea to try to think of a reveal like this, but you really needed to have planned this out better and tried it a couple times. This clearly didn't work in the slightest for that reveal, and I actually didn't dislike her under look. I think it would have worked really well from the like the plant to the kind of like horror in a way, but like I mean, it took so long that it was just like I'm doing a full on costume change and I have to watch it now. So
Do
it
we
was
like, is it like known that the inside of the cactuses are white? Is that like a thing?
um
Because
I
I
think
didn't understand the reference really.
I think that it is known that the cactuses start to lighten up in color and get white on the normal cactuses. Like I think there's a lot of cacti right out there, but the I think a normal cactus that you would find in just in the desert of Arizona or something, you're gonna see like they're usually green on the inside and then they turn like either a light green or a whitish color on the inside. So I think it is white on most of them, but I just think it's one of those things that it was cool, maybe a little too conceptual, but maybe more so not interesting enough after the concept was revealed, right? Like where you're like, that's cool. Where in actuality, if she had just taken back the hood, shown her beautiful, like what was it, rhinestone encrusted hair and the white hood of it all, and just like shown like on the inside I look like this though, and maybe just like opened up her flowers on the chest and shown more like that. I think that would have been what we wanted from the reveal to show that it's white on the inside. That would have been enough, especially to go
Yeah.
with the shoe and everything else. You know, she's got spikes everywhere. She looked good for the most part. And then we have the other cactus, though. You know, Mistress Isabelle Brooks. She's very more cartoony. She has gone the full big spikes, full on green, and a few pink petals for the flowers. She looks good, but the outfit isn't great. People compared it to the Ginger Minge outfit. who like the toad thing. I personally think it's better than a lot better than that, and her mug is much greater.
Thousand
But
percent.
it's not a great look.
I like the fact that she kind of went in a different direction than we would expect her to go. But
Right.
yeah, I think that's the only thing that is kind of slightly making me enjoy it over other ones. It's just because it's well made. It is very
It
well made.
is.
And I mean it's kind of a clean outfit, but and I kind of like the way that like the boobies are like the spikes kind of thing, like the spike balls and
Yeah.
like the piranha plant thing kind of thing. Like it's fun. I just kind of wish if she was gonna go in this direction, she would have leaned more into like the real like Super Mario Brothers aesthetic, and that the pink petals were a little bit bigger because it felt like they were kind of small, in comparison to everything of it. I don't know. There's
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that definitely should be. I mean, honestly, the whole outfit just needs to be burned.
You know what it kind of
But
looks like?
if we're gonna make it live,
Right.
could be worse.
You know what it kind of reminds me of though is like a baby's face surrounded by those petals, like, and
Yeah, oh
you know when
yeah,
how
I
back in the
see
day,
you.
either in the
Mhm,
sun or in like a flower, they would put a baby's face. That's what it kind of
mhm.
reminded me of in the face, and I was like, this is kind of weird, just because of the way it's framed, and like there's actually cactus on top of there, but you don't really see much of that, and it's kind of like I almost wish she had gone straight up like just faux cactus, like one arm up, one arm like lowered but still pointing up, and like straight up like on the middle and just gone down like she was a cactus looking to like change from a cactus to something else. Because if you're gonna go cartoony, why not go all the way? But it's a fine look. It's not great though. We
Yeah,
totally get the idea. It fits the category, but it's one of those. It did the job, and no one wants to see it again. No one cares about it. And honestly, that's kind of how I felt about both cactuses. At the end of it, I was like, I don't want to see either of these again. These are terrible. But then after we, see these two bad ones, we got this like Audrey 2 look from Lydia that I just it's so boring and the fabric she chose was so bad. The fabric of the dress made it look cheap and the swirl she did around the breasts or really just reminded me of the Kerri Colby design challenge from last week, but worse.
oop,
And I was like, oh my God. And you prepared this before the show? I was like, look, this hand puppet is like a lower, cheaper version of the puppet skit she did on her talent show in her season. So it was just a massive miss the whole time because it felt like this was just a dress with a flower puppet on it. And the shoes are just normal anywhere shoes. She probably borrowed those character shoes from Susie. Like, her hair.
you don't think she took them from Corey?
No, because Corey's had more of that mesh on the top part throughout. Those character shoes that she had, those
She's going
dancing
up
shoes, if you want to
schools.
call
These are
that
her
she didn't dance
khakis.
in. Sure. I mean, like Lydia's look is also just basic. It's fine. It is just a look that like there is no concept, there's no fun, there's no personality or anything to it. It's really given like a C minus, just like the other girls were given right there. Like, hey, it was C minus, baby. It's gonna pass. You're gonna get your degree, maybe. Like, it's fine. It's not great. It's garbage. Like, you know, no offense, but if you're coming here to show your drag, this is not it. And I know that the runway portion isn't important to that many people, and definitely isn't important to the judges, but it's a letdown.
Yeah, I wasn't really feeling this look, and I'm a little surprised that I mean, well, actually, I'm probably gonna get some shit for this. I don't really care though. I was a little surprised that our viewers are like as up Lydia's butt on this look as they are, but I also know that like we do have a lot of young kids that probably connect with Lydia here, so I'm not gonna take that away. Like I know like a lot of there's always that one young queen. It feels like every single season that gets like a fan support kind of thing, and I just think that's just probably
Hmm.
Lydia this season. She's basically the Marsha of this season, as far as I'm concerned, and that's completely fine. But I'm not gonna necessarily go in that direction, and if that's the direction you want us to go in, I apologize because it's you're not gonna get that here. um,
I don't
speaking
apologize.
Yeah,
I'm
I know
letting
you
you know
would. You
straight
would,
up.
Jack. You'd own it. You own that shit. I will apologize though, just because I feel like people probably think one way or another. But I'm like, I am literally twice as old as Lydia at this point. So I'm like, no, girl, no. Well, let's go ahead and we can go ahead and jump into this week's maxi challenge, which was the Rappin Roast, which is basically a concept which is the roast meets the girl group challenge meets like Wild and Out. Jack, do you remember Wild and Out?
Girl, of course. I used to watch that
Okay, just
every
making
day
sure.
after school, basically, when it was on.
Did you like this concept here, with the mashing the roast together with like the girl group challenge? I thought it was fun.
At first, on paper, I did not like this challenge. I was like, I feel like they're trying to really push in so much content, but I'm not sure how I feel about it. And then actually, I was like, this is kind of a great way to do the roast because you don't really have to worry about girls introducing or ending like what was going on. And it was a fun song, so I really enjoyed it. And I actually think every girl did much better than I was kind of expecting some of the girls to do. Like I kind of thought we were going to get at least one flop, but I have to tell you, I don't think we had a flop. Like
Well, I
I
think
don't
that's
think
for
that
two
there's anyone I could
reasons.
say it was a flop.
If you want me to say that's probably for two reasons. One, because they pre-recorded. If they didn't pre-record, they actually
Yes.
had to like sing their lyrics, they would flop. And two is because we live in a world, sadly, of ghostwriters, and it's very clear that
Oh
like a
no,
lot
it's
of these
fine.
girls are going to be using ghostwriters. And I don't, I'm
As
not,
they
I'm,
should.
I'm of two worlds with this because I'm like, yeah, I wish there was a little bit more maybe naturalness to it and them actually having to do everything on the spot. But I'm also of the type that I'm like, you're coming on this show. If you know that lyric writing isn't your strength, just like if like costume making isn't your strength, you reach out to other people to help you with that. That's
Mhm.
what's happening here. So like it's still a situation where you still have to own it. You still have to do the performance. You still have to have the charisma in what you're doing, and you still
Yeah.
have to have the flow while you're actually rapping. So not that mad about it. I think it could have been a lot worse in so many different settings here. I think my biggest thing here, though, was I felt like without subtitles, because I did not watch this with subtitles, it was very hard to understand so many of these girls. And a lot of them aren't rappers, which I feel like a lot of it is, what it comes down to. But for me, I feel like that factored into a lot of my personal critiques when it came down to the challenge. And given
Mhm.
that I'm of retirement age, like Rue and Michelle, yes, I'm not surprised that they took that into consideration as well. Do you think that took any sort of anything out of it for you, Jack? Did you have to hear the lyrics, or were you going just based off of the overall vibe, or what was your kind of biggest thing that you were kind of judging this on?
So I'm gonna be 100 with you. I could pretty much understand like every lyric that was going down. Like maybe one or two words missed here or there. But my biggest misstep on this was I think it was Lydia who said corner as Kerner for to rhyme with Tina Burner, and I was like, "What's a Kerner?" Like I was like, I don't know what that is, and so I looked it up, and I didn't find a result. And my friends who was watching it, they're like, "I think she meant corner," and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that probably makes sense." Like, and like as as much as it's really simple to see like you could miss something like that in the moment. It was really easy to also see that like these girls had worked on it. It was mostly done well. I mean, there's issues we'll bring it up with each girl, but like I think everyone did an amazing job. It's one of our better roast and girl group performances, I'd say, if you want to call it a girl group, I guess. But I mean, starting out like Tina like turned the party kind of like I want to note that I kind of saw a lot of different styles of rap between some of the girls. I feel like Tina gave me really a 90s kind of hip hop vibe. Like, I think, maybe her age has and her experience has something to do with that. But I really got that kind of vibe from her flow. I really felt like Mistress was giving me 2000s rap or like early 2010s from like
Maybe like
late
some Missy
2000s.
Elliott kind of thing.
Like, a little Nikki, a little Missy, kind of thing. And I felt like
Mm.
Kerri and Jorgeous were both giving me very more modern rap girlies. Kind of, I feel like when you saw their style, it was more so about like, let me give you the choreography and make sure that I'm like lining it up with the beat, like trying to do the word specifically on a move to like really enhance that. Whereas like the other two girls, Nicole and Lydia, no hate, it just that was the white girls rapping, you know? Like, and maybe rapping's not for everyone,
It's
just
really
like
not. It
thinking
really
isn't
isn't.
either. So, like, they did their best, and I have nothing bad to say about, like, in terms of they put it on that show, they did what they had to do. But as far as judging, like, I think Tina did like a great job starting the whole thing off. I think she really came out strong. I think she got a lot of good reads in. The only thing I think that she missed was reading Jorgeous, and
She
I had
also
to
had
take
a
off.
lot of words in hers. Like I remember there was one where she was trying to do like the whole Mean Girls, like the whole like when
She was
what's her
talking
face
about
was talking about.
Mistress, and she called her a
Yeah.
bitch and a
And
bully or
when
something
she was trying
like that.
like the whole like that and the like the Danny DeVito thing and she literally put
The
like
Danny DeVito thing was a great idea. It was a
so
little
much
difficult to get
into
off.
that one lyric and I was just like I felt like that was just my biggest issue with Tina is that she was talking too much. Like I felt like she could have taken out a lyric few lyrics here
I
or there and gotten the same point across and been so much cleaner overall with the performance. And something Naisha Lopez also brought up was the fact that I don't know why people when we do rap, it always has to be something so like aggressive and like, oh, I'm gonna like punch the air and back and forth. And I'm just like, I didn't really like that. Like it felt like a little bit of like a, I don't know
girl,
there
that's
was
that.
something a little off about it, but like I still liked Tina's performance. I'm not gonna hate on Tina for doing it,
Hmm.
but it was just one of those things where I was like, when you see a white person doing rap, I'm like, why does it always have to be like aggressive and angry and like we're gonna like kill each other and shank each other? I'm like that isn't necessarily what rap is, but like if that's the interpretation of a certain group of people that think that, I'm like, I'm a little, but at the end of the day, I really like Tina's performance, and I think you're right. Tina did really well. One queen I was actually really surprised by was Nicole Page Brooks.
Oh goodness, everyone's getting
Her
on this,
rap
and I
was
can't with these
terrible.
liars.
Oh, it was terrible. It was completely terrible. But there's something
Hmm.
about Nicole just owning it and just being Nicole while she was doing it. Like she wasn't trying to like put on like anybody else's like style, right? Like she was just being her and just doing it. Granted, she stood in one spot, lit it the whole time, and just kind of pantomimed back and forth. But there was something about it just made me laugh. And I don't know, I think it's just I mean it just comes from it's like the Alyssa Edwards in Nicole. It's just who she is that just makes me laugh. And that's why I thought it was hilarious.
I think she had a lot of charisma. I mean, she started off. She's like, you know me. I'm NPBFAG. You know me. I'm Nicole. Like, and I was like, okay, so it's given a little Darian Lake from the season 6 rap
Mm-hmm.
challenge, right? At
Mm-hmm.
first, like big girl
Walking down
walking
these
down
dirty
these city
streets.
streets, and, right? And you're like, okay, so it's not going to be good, but we are going to get through it eventually, right? I feel like with her specifically, it was just like it was messy. She did her best. She read the girls. I enjoyed that. There were just times where the flow stopped and wasn't on beat, and I was like, eh. So I was like, I enjoyed it. Clearly, she wasn't in the top. Like I
That
know
could be the
everyone
same
was
for
like,
Lydia too, though. Lydia was not on beat at all
oh,
times.
Lydia was the worst about not being on beat. Lydia sounded like Cardi B in all of these songs that she's had ghost written for her and whatnot. She was fighting the beat. Like I was like, who's gonna win, the beat or Lydia? And I'm like, who's gonna win, the beat or Cardi? I was like, I don't know who's winning right now, but no one's winning out in the audience. Well, and I know I'm gonna get hate for hating on Nicole and Lydia, but like they did a good job of trying to like really read everyone. But again, off the beat, so the flow is messy. It is what it is. The one thing I will say in comparison to these two to like Tina is like Tina might have been more aggressive. I think Nicole was kind of aggressive, but like with Tina, it felt like she was very 90s, like that style. She was really taking that, like, this is a roast. I am going to roast you. I am going to like cut you down. And I was like, good for you. Like, go for it. And I think all three of them did a great job doing that. But like, who really, I think, just completely cleared all the girls in this challenge was Mistress. I think Mistress did the best by far, and I know everyone was like, Jorgeous was the best, Lydia was the best, Nicole was
I
the
kind of
best.
think Jorgeous
Like,
was the best, but I do agree with you. Mistress did really well.
I think
There was an
Mistress,
attitude behind Mistress that was just very like authentic. Right.
Mistress came out the cut immediately letting you know, like, okay, yes, this is who I am, and now I'm gonna go down the line and read these girls for the trash that they are. And I was like, okay. And she was in this moment, like it was like rewatching a door from that rap challenge in season 6, where she was telling Laganja, like, we don't do these choreographed moves. That's not what rap is about. Like, and that's how I felt in that moment. I was like, Mistress is really just giving me that essence of like, this is what a star is, baby. Like, you're going to perform in a certain way and you're going to own that type of thing. Like, I feel like Mistress was just hitting every beat, every flow, every word. I understood every single thing. I knew what she was saying, I knew who she was saying it to, and it was fun. And she gave me, you could tell, like, she has listened to rap before. She says and claims she's a barb, and you can tell that she knows what a lyric sounds like how to create a bar. And I'm not saying she made all of her lyrics herself. I'm totally fine with girls using
But she's able
ghostwriters
to perform
in
them,
this.
though. That's the point.
She is able to perform. That's the number one thing. I mean, in real rap, like if you can claim yourself to be a rapper, you should not be using ghostwriters. But this is not like America's Next Rap Star. This is
Right.
America's Next Rap Superstar kind of thing, right? So I just have to give so many flowers to Mistress. I know the girls were gooped and gagged, and everyone everywhere was like, "I don't think Mistress should have been in the top two. I think Lydia should have been there. Well, I think Nicole Page should have been there." Like, girl, bye, get over yourselves.
No.
If you
I
think
love
Nicole Page
Nicole, but I
or
would
Lydia
not
should
say
have been in the
Nicole
top
deserved to
two,
be in the top two. I love
if you
Nicole. I would not put her there.
if you think that either of them should be in the top two based on the challenge, it's an automatic cut. You don't get an opinion no more, girl. I'm sorry, but like this isn't for you. You don't know what this challenge is about. Like let me pack your bags for you, sis. Like you need to
I
go to
will
vacation at the
say,
rehab. Like I'll take you there.
I was fully expecting Mistress to have some much more like punchier reads, but I still feel like just the attitude that she gave them in was enough for me. Like
Definitely.
that was as far as I'm concerned, and that's kind of what Jorgeous gave too was that attitude. Like she's up here, I'm gonna read you, and you got read. And I mean, Megami gave all of her lyrics, obviously,
But
but like it still takes you having to perform it. Still have to go to the beat. You still have to be able to, and still do your live performance behind it and back it up. And Georges did all three of those for me. She may not have wrote it, but she performed them out of it, as far as I'm concerned. And how many people? Let's just be real. Like, there's so many artists out there that don't even write their own songs. So I'm like, it's the same thing here, as far as I'm concerned. Georges, Georges and Mistress were just light years beyond everybody else in this challenge,
I
as far as I'm concerned.
mean, George did such a good job. But I also want to point out something that I found was very interesting during George's section. I felt like the cameraography is what I'm going to call it that they did for
Ooh,
that editing on her was really
yes.
good compared to a lot of other girls. Like they were doing all these different angles and really making her look like she was going in.
Oh my
Because
God, I forgot we were talking about that. Yes, the Oh my
yes,
God
yes,
edit. Oh my God
the
edit.
give me all these angles, and it was cool. It was very cool. I loved it. And I'm not saying George didn't deserve her top two placement because she 100,000% did. But I was like, it felt like there was a lot more of that going on, and also a lot of detail on the choreography to really accentuate her points and really make it sound like, it felt like it was like heavier because she like dropped down on the one foot and slide out the leg, or she did a little kick number here. You know what I'm saying? Like those things were happening on her performance. And I'm not saying it was a crutch or anything. I just think that her performance relied more on choreography. When I look at Mistress's performance, it was more about really giving that energy of doing the song kind of thing, and that's where I think they were so different yet the same, but they were just really giving us what we wanted. And in the same effect of George's really being about choreography, I think that's what Kerri Colby was so about, because when Kerri came down as the last person to come in this roast, I was like, all right, so like Kerri's probably gonna do something that's gonna be cute, because I have respect for Kerri, but I think we all kind of know that in our hearts of hearts, like Kerri Colby isn't gonna give me like the number one, like this is gonna kill it. Kerri started rapping, and I was like, wait a damn minute. Kerri, where did this like presence come from? This amazing like moment. She made reads. She did not necessarily direct the reads, but you kind of knew where she was going. And in her performance, she went to the different girls, and that was her big flaw. But the way she was dancing and like breaking it down for the girls was very interesting, and I was mesmerized by her in a way I had never been before from her on Drag Race. So I really want to give her that shout out and her flowers for that because I really think she did an amazing job.
She did a great job if it was just a rap challenge. I
Hmm.
don't think her lyrics at all, at all did what she was trying to do and read people without reading them. Because even when she was on stage, like pointing people out in specific things, like even the read, like I don't know if it really matched them. Like when she was like, I was talking, or she was talking about how like she's like 5 feet or 10 feet tall or something, and she got it from her dad, and then she points at Nicole. I'm like, well, Nicole isn't your dad, and he did not make you tall. And I get that you were calling Nicole a dad because Nicole's a dad, but like I don't know, there was just too much reading into it that was attempting to be done, and I don't think any of the reads were specific enough. But if we're going just based off of actually being like a lyricist and actually like giving a great performance, Kerri did that 1,000%, and it was sexy as fuck. But like, it just did not fit the challenge to me at all. Whatsoever. And I was just,
I loved it. I was
oh.
like, this girl's a lyricist. Well, okay, let me say that again. This girl did a great performance. I know all those lyrics weren't from Carrie. Come on, girls, don't even try to act like we don't know, right? Like all those lyrics were not from Carrie's mouth or from her mind specifically. She got help with that, and I have no hate with that. That's great. She did an amazing performance, but I agree with you. She should have been more direct with who she was talking shit to.
Mhm. I just,
It should have
I think it would have
immediately
helped
been
her
like,
so much more.
and Mistress, this fat bitch, and Tina, this man bitch, and Jorgeous, this short bitch, and
Like,
Nicole, this old bitch.
she
Like,
could have just had her confessional, right? And I feel like her
yeah,
confessional would have done better.
without the outfit, without that trash outfit. I'm sorry, without that trash outfit.
uh,
Carrie, I like you, but that outfit in the confessionals, unacceptable. Unacceptable. Every time it comes on, I to my friends, I'm always like, that fabric looks so cheap because of those cheap ass stones she put on there. And it don't even really match the top part of it.
leave the
Every
China
time they're like,
stones alone.
well, that material isn't cheap, and I was like, and yet it looks so cheap, like she got it at the dollar store. Because those stones just make it look like the cheapest outfit ever. I was like, girl, take off the construction paper. Come on, we're at a art class right now.
Well, Jack, I gotta ask you really quick. Just because personally, like my tastes are very like 90s R&B, 2000s pop. Um I have no idea who the fuck Chappell Roan is.
Oh, you'll get
She
me in
showed up as a judge and all these girls were
trouble.
like, okay, I'm
I
having an Ice Spice moment, and I'm like, I don't care. Were you living for
goodness.
Chappell Roan being here? 'Cause, like, if Tate McRae walked up in this workroom, I'd be like, hey, she's hot as fuck. But I'm just like, I don't know who Chappell Roan is. I don't. I'm sorry.
I know who Chappell Roan is. I'm not a huge fan. I don't think her music is my thing personally, right? Like I don't think she's like revolutionary in the way that people say she is, and that's my opinion. But I get the hype over her. She's a queer artist, like. But I just don't think the music is that good. I'm not a huge fan. HOTTOGO is the new YMCA.
I
You
wasn't feeling the
know,
song. I'm sorry. I wasn't
well, and
feeling
the
the lip sync
song
song.
doesn't sound good on the recording itself, in my opinion. So I was convinced that when Georges came up on the stage, we were getting Pink Pony Club because she was wearing that outfit, and I was like, "Oh, here we go, Pink Pony Club." But I was like, I guess that's probably one of her best, so like, go off. And then they gave us Hot to Go, and I was like,
I feel like
well,
this isn't a lip sync song to me. Like it's very like Ariana Grande kind of like mid tempo ish. Like there was no like big
um,
moments. It wasn't leading to
that's
anything.
disrespectful.
Like well, it's that's kind of it's there's some songs that are they're great songs, but they're not lip sync songs. Lip sync
I
songs
think
are
Ariana
songs that
Grande
really
has a
like
lot better lip sync
build
songs than
to
her.
something. And Ariana Grande has a lot of like mid-tempo songs that don't like
I
build
think
to
Ariana Grande has a
anything.
lot better
And
songs than
well,
Hot to Go.
I'm not comparing these two to each other necessarily. I'm just saying it's the same
Feels
style of
like
like
it.
that lip syncs. It's that weird mid-tempo ness that does not work for like lip syncs either need to be ballads or they need to be like those super high energy, just like the songs that allow you to go on a journey. There was no journey. I feel like Hot to Go takes you on. So like that's where my issue was with it whatsoever. But I was a little
It's a
gagged.
song
Um sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
it's a song that's supposed to be about teaching a dance like the YMCA does eventually. It's very cha-cha slide though.
But
It's,
yeah, Cha Cha Slide
like,
isn't a good lip sync song too either.
and I agree
That's the point.
100%.
That's
You
the
know what though?
point.
I would rather see a cha-cha slide lip sync because I think that shit could go hard, but in the funniest of ways. But Hot to Go is like her. That was like I don't know if I would say that's her like breakout song, but like to me that was like when it was all over. That was like it was it. That was the song, and
And it's like Britney
I
Spears
just
sometimes. Like it's not sometimes is like when you watch the video, right? She does choreography to it, but it's like the slowest choreography. It's like, why? Why? Why are you dancing to this song? Like this song doesn't deserve dancing to. I don't know.
I mean,
That's just my like if that song came on in the club, I'd be like, why? Why?
so here the thing with Chappell Roan is like she has these songs that are mostly I don't want to hate anyone, but these songs feel very middle school, high school girl emotion wise, where we're talking. I'm not trying to say that if they're like invalid or anything like that. It just they're very more like supposed to be deepish kind of thoughts provoking, or they're very just fun like dance number, I guess, but I don't find them fun or dancey, but that's what they're supposed to be. And I just, for me, Chappell Roan, I thought she looked terrible. I thought you know what it felt like to me? It felt like Gaga trying way too hard to do a shocking look. Like, I don't think she looked good as the blow up sex doll that she was trying to do. I kind of was like, this is garbage, mama. I'm gonna throw
It
this
did
out.
feel a little extra. Like
It was trying too hard to be different. And people can hate me for that, but it's the truth. Like, and you can't even deny it. You saw what it looked like. You were like, "Ooh, the hair looks bad." Like, it looks like she intentionally tried to make the hair look like Cynthia from the Rugrats. Angelica's little doll. That's what I was getting from it.
yeah.
It was cheap, and I wasn't feeling it. But so Chappell Roan to me isn't a big deal. And in fact, I
She
think that's
seems
what
sweet
we why we.
though. She's been like a really nice person. It seems like she cares. And I think that
Oh, sure.
that enough
If
is cool. I'll take that.
I don't feel that way, but
Yeah, I mean, she's
if
not going to
you
be
feel
someone that
that
I
way,
listen to anyway, but I appreciate the fact that she's supportive of the girls and,
yeah, I
she's out here
mean,
trying to uplift us in ways that a lot of other artists aren't going to be doing. So we do have
uh,
to give her that credit, I
the bottom of the barrel scraping for. Well, I
think.
mean, really, like when you say that, it's like I'm so glad she's a supporter and ally on a queer TV show. Like, well, she's queer herself, so I mean, it's kind of one of those like it's an automatic expectation, and also like I'm not giving anyone like props for doing the least. She's part of the community, so like let her be part of the community, but like I hope she don't end up like JoJo Siwa, but that's for another day. Anyways, what I think this lip sync was boring and bad, and
Yeah, I didn't like this lip sync. It wasn't fun. It wasn't
it
fun
was
feeling.
we watched it.
And I was a little gagged that they decided to make it a double Shantae and they both got a half of a point. Like, what?
I That's the gaggery and the goopery. Like that's clearly staged. Like we all know. Come on now. Everyone knows that was to guarantee that Mistress and Jorgeous are both going to continue on the competition no matter what,
Right.
because
And like,
they
if you
know
really
that
do
the
the
stunt
math,
that they pulled.
well, if you really do the math, all that they have to do, and I think, and we saw kind of a little bit preview. We're not going to jump into the preview for next week's episode. Um, Other than the fact that there was one part where Georges and Mistress goes up to Georges and Lydia says, "We either need to both be in the top next episode, or we need to both be in the bottom, so we could just give each other a point and they'll make it through." And I'm like, the fact that they're even aware of the fact that they just need to just give each other a point, and the fact that like no one
Yeah.
else probably will go through, um, I think that was what production wanted. I think production was like, we're not going to make a choice between the two of you unless Mistress was to win. I think they would have given Mistress the point if she won straight up. But because George just won straight up, they're like, no, we're going to give you both half points so you could both get through.
Yeah, and I honestly also think one of the big things that's important here to recognize is even in the Untucked, Mistress was trying to sell this idea of what if Lydia and Tina like give their points to each other and do what we did last week, and then we can really minimize the chances of any of us getting cut out, like,
Oh my God, that
and so
gagged me so hard when Miss and mind you, how that all got set up was Nicole was having a moment, and Carrie's like, "You should go check up on Nicole and go have a moment with your sister." Then while they're
yeah,
going having their heartfelt moment, Mistress
and that's what you kind of have to do sometimes, you really have to be aware of the game. Like, yes, she's having a moment, and yes, it can be sad, and yes, like, but she straight up used that moment that Tina had brought up basically to guarantee that she was getting further in this competition, and I don't think there's anything bad about that. I know people are going to say that as rude, it's nasty, it's awful,
No,
blah
it's
blah blah.
hilarious. It is so
It's
hilarious. If you cannot see the
it's just
camp
the people.
in this, all of this that Mistress is doing, like, why are you even watching this show? Like, seriously. Like, everything she's doing is so freaking camp.
I think the important thing to remember also, like a lot of people don't know this or don't realize it, is at the end of the day, this is not as much of a drag competition as it is currently just a reality TV show, and we have really segmented into this is a TV show first and a drag competition second because the competition is always going to be rigged,
Mhm.
right? So like we have to accept that unfortunately as it is.
Right. They're always going to have their favorites prior to entering the
Hmm.
competition. They're always going to already know, like, half of these queens they cast without or without or with knowing that they're probably not going to perform up to expectations. Um, like I don't know what more people kind of are expecting in these sort of situations anymore. It's like the show is not the same show that it was back when, it was on Logo. It clearly
Oh,
isn't.
definitely not.
Like we know that we can get by on getting an Emmy. So that's what the goal is now is to just keep getting an Emmy.
And
So
we don't
like
care about the runways.
no. There's so many things they don't care about. I mean, I
Well,
don't know if
just
they cared about the
saying.
runways back then, but
They cared way more than they do now.
honestly, what it comes down to is that like it's a TV show, y'all, and we need to just have fun and enjoy it. And like, one, don't take some crap out on these queens. Like they're giving us some of the best TV that we've had in I don't even know how long. Uh, like this is the best by far one the better than All Stars 9, definitely better than All Stars 8, definitely better than All Stars
7.
7. Yeah,
It's
I would.
easily better than
Uh,
All-Star 7. Don't even say anything other than that.
6 might be the only one that I'm looking at. Like I don't know.
6 is good. 5 is
But like five
alright.
is fucking no, five is terrible. Five is
5 is
terrible.
5
Five
is
is one.
alright, though, in the sense that, like,
It
it
was
doesn't
terrible after
feel
Derek left.
okay. No.
Episode one,
Um,
and then it all goes downhill.
5 is where you really start to see the girls being like, we're just gonna bring anyone back, I guess."
You're right, but that's
But, like,
but yeah,
I
that's why I didn't like
personally am
five
fine
because
with
the
that.
five was very much so like
Some
Jujubee, Shay,
stars.
and Cracker are very much so going to be top three, and there was no surprise outside
5
of
was
that.
just
We knew
some
that.
stars,
We knew
and then
that.
they did dirty about love the other girls, but I loved season 5 of All Stars, like what they try to do, but there's
Nah,
some choices made,
I
but
can't. Five is one of the hardest seasons to watch for me to go back and watch. I can't.
Girl, All Stars
Yeah.
1 is right there that you were defending with your
I
life. I would do
yeah, and
5
I would
before
much rather
1.
watch All Stars 1 than All Stars 5.
I have completely different
Gladly.
opinion.
Gladly would watch All Stars 1 over All Stars 5, without a doubt. Because at least the girls on All Stars 1 are really all stars.
I
So
mean, they're messy, sure. I just I think at the end of it all, what I'm really looking at is when I see this All Stars 10, I think it could have, in theory, been anyone's game, right? The format is made to feel like that. It doesn't. It clearly is rigged past that. But so we're seeing kind of like what we expect to happen in the stage, and I think we all kind of have an expectation of how next week is going to go to some extent, depending
Kind of
on.
feels like it's cut and dry what's happening here. Depending on what
There's
happens with the
only
points.
there's only one other outcome I can see outside of Lydia, Mistress, and Jorgeous going on, and that's if Tina gets a win
I think
and
Tina basically has
Nicole
to win
get
the next challenge
if
and
Tina
lip
gets a
sync
win and
to
Nicole gives
upset
her a
anything.
point. I think it's possible for her to actually move on, and that's like where one of the outcomes could be because it's a musical, and she did great on the last musical challenge she was in, even though they put her in the bottom three because of a final note that
Oh my
she died during, and
God.
they were mad at her for cutting it early, even
For
though it
cutting
was
it off
good.
2 seconds early.
It
That
wasn't
drives
bad
me.
enough.
That was by far one of the most. That's why I fear for Tina, and I don't feel like she's going to go through because they nitpick uh, so much out of her, and
They
I'm just
do
like,
because they don't like Tina. But if there was going to be like a, they're either going to have Lydia or Tina go through. The only other option is if not Lydia, we're getting Tina, right? Like that's the only other option I see. Like I don't think there's any real chance for Kerri or for Nicole to go through.
no, no, it's a four-girl race at this moment. And it's basically will Tina be able to take Lydia's spot? What it feels like at this point. Um, Jorgeous and Mistress feel locked in with that .5 of a point.
Yeah.
So it just very much so comes down to that. And I'm mad at it kind of being like that cut and dry. It's kind of fun. The last group, everybody possibly had a chance to get through. This
Wow.
one, we kind of know who is already kind of nailed it down to. So, um, I mean, ultimately, it came down to who we expected it to be anyway. So I'm not going to be shocked. I don't think there's any way I'd be shocked other than if Tina wins this challenge.
Only way I'm shocked is if Nicole Page Brooks wins this challenge, wins a lip sync, and gets like three other girls' points to continue on. You know, like that would be the
She
shock.
does so well to the point that Jorgeous and Mistress are like, we need to give her our points. The way she goes through.
I mean, guess like possible. Technically, yeah. In technicality, what RuPaul said is there's a path to the end for all of you. Yes, there
Mhm.
technically is.
But
Is it ever
everybody
going
else
to
has to
happen?
give up
No.
their path to the end in order for Nicole to get there.
Right, like it's unrealistic. She would have to go probably win the challenge with Kerri Colby also winning the challenge, and then all the girls giving the points like to her, or maybe she wins the challenge and like Mistress wins the challenge, or like George just wins the challenge. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just
It's
a
not
mess.
happening. It's not
Yeah,
happening.
it's not happening.
It's not
Whatever theory crafting you want to do with that, it's not gonna happen.
No, it feels like it's a very pretty straightforward path at this moment here.
Oh yeah, cut and dry completely.
You have any final words here, Jack, before we end tonight's podcast episode to get ready for
Um,
the finale
Selfish
of the
people
season?
live longer.
Yeah.
So, in competitions, you really have to put yourself first and stop caring about everyone. Because guess what? Even when you're on a sinking life craft, or if you're on a plane, you got to put your oxygen mask on first, and then help the other girls get theirs on. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yep.
you got to put yourself first.
Yep. They tell you to put it on before you put it on your child. So
Yeah.
I feel that
Just don't
completely.
bring a child, and you won't have that situation. You see?
I mean, some of us have friends that act like children. Yeah, you. I'm just
But I still put up
kidding.
with you.
So hateful. Well, Jack, it's been a good time. We I think we made up for all the shade that we didn't maybe give in our last podcast and in this podcast. And we'll kind of wait to see how things happen for the pink group, even though we kind of probably already predicted what will happen here prior. But
Yeah.
you know, as always, y'all, we can't wait to see how this turns out. And hopefully you can't either, especially if you lasted this long. Thank you again so much for listening to the podcast tonight, y'all. And make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and comment below because we'd love to hear your thoughts on the season. And until next time, and on behalf of my co-caster, QuackrrJack, this is Renegayde signing out. But remember, keep spilling that tea, y'all. Bye!
I